Sorry for the temporary shutdown. It turns out that the Wuhan flu can actually infect across the internet. I'm Adam, and I'm recovered from my normal influenza, because apparently getting vaccinated for the common flu means that the rarer strains decide to come out in force for me.
I am Alabaster, the unicorn, and fortunately, I took all this time to recover the gunshot wound that I had in my mouth.
My name is Mrs. Diopson, and I'm essential.
I am Greg, and I finally returned after family business is taken care of, and I'm just, I'm hiding a bit. Don't ask from who.
And I'm Randall Frag, and I haven't been outside in 2 weeks, and I'm currently surrounded by mountains of toilet paper.
So you're the guy that's
Please?
been buying it all.
Please help me.
You're a bastard. You know that.
I'm the Diocid. Please send TP quickly.
It's nice that you came in. The Diopsid's broodmother actually wanted to communicate with him for a bit, so we didn't know when he'd show up. So
Yeah.
we're actually going to be skipping skills because other than a couple of the skills listed, they're actually pretty normal. It's kind of surprising because I would have thought that Derek would have weirded them up with the way he writes, but
Broken clocks and being right twice a day and something.
maybe this is like
Oh,
how he
God.
got better, because supposedly he got better as he did more of this. And
I
there's
don't
like
know.
a social thing that I thought could be interesting, but Randall said no, and I'm okay with that because that means it's less likely we'll get pulled for showing everything. So we're going to start with evoking the weird, the hideous paradise, which I don't think actually works together as words. Like, you can have paradise and hideous, but not in the same sentence.
Question, my good chaps. May I read since it's been since this is my return from my long hiatus?
Oh, sure, I don't mind.
Be my guest.
Fiends can not only cause violent mayhem, but may arouse the eerie strangeness which awaits just beyond. The philosophical and spiritual road that many fiends walk is just as liberating as destruction. In the dark way, fiends may build rather than tear down.
Okay, so they're not just
system of
Ooga
the
Booga tribesmen.
dark way, founded on the grotesque, is unreality, celebration, and the unspeakable forces of undulating obscurity. As someone
Okay,
pulled out their...
I'm calling bullshit. I don't think that's a real word.
Ululating is a real word, but I can tell you right now that Derek has no idea what the fuck it means.
Yeah,
Oh.
let's look it up. I'm gonna look it up
It just means to kind of just scream in emotion.
It's like wibbling and wobbling in my experience, but you're probably
Yeah, that's
right.
pretty much what it means.
Antediluvian entities from before recorded time discovered that there existed a metaphysical stream of energy, both strange and terrible, a hidden wellspring of supernatural disconnection from the world and ourselves.
I'm already getting
Fiend.
lost, and it's only the first paragraph.
I
Amazing.
know, this is bad. Fiends need evil. They need to overcome the weakness and timidity of the slave morality, the morality of the oppressed.
Oh,
Wait, that's
hi,
a
Nishi.
That's a Levain Satanism term, slave morality.
Which just got ripped off from Nietzsche.
Which I think it's misattributed. I think it's not like what Nietzsche really meant. I don't think that was, at least.
Like
Well,
everything else,
half of
Nietzsche
what
said.
Yeah, like half of what Nietzsche said was his douchebag sister trying to make it more acceptable to Nazis.
Anyway, the Brotherhood wants something else. The sensations of malevolent transcendence. It can be had by writing a death poem to your best friend just before you entomb his sister alive, abandoning common speech for zombie-like groans while stalking a victim, dancing the goat's dance by the lonely roadside until the carnival, putting on an impromptu puppet show where the puppets rip the flesh with their literal wooden teeth, summoning a spectral light to reveal the insides of those who approach without giving the sign of each.
What that means, no one knows.
Of an intestine. it with feathers and albino ears, then naming it Nicodemus. Building a video screen into your own stomach that replays the most awful moments from other people's lives as it jabs steel wires into your flesh for your masochistic pleasure, you sick bastard.
This is
Oh my god.
Is it bad I've just imagining horror movie version of Sesame Street where all the Muppets are carnivores eating all the people?
Jim Henson's very bad
I
day.
mean, to be honest, Derek Dishaw is kind of a sick bastard because I actually found out he made another RP called tabletop RPG called Alpha Blue, which is basically centered around some alien brothel, and it's pretty much all of his it's pretty much it's kind of like reading his all of his fetishes and basically his porn stash. We are definitely not going to review that because I do not want to know his darkest desires.
Also, we read Black Tokyo, so no, we've
Yeah,
already
no,
exceeded
but,
our
like,
boob
that
count
exists.
for books.
So he's kind of a hypocrite by calling us a sick bastard.
As someone who has experienced quite a lot of disgusting degeneracy and trash in my time, I can say the man who wrote this is certainly on a level of degeneracy that I have not seen.
So what you're saying is
long.
Derek is a man of culture.
Yeah, and also
No. A man of culture. No. Oh, a man of culture is very different from a degenerate. Degenerates do disgusting things. A man of culture can appreciate much.
Yeah.
But there's a difference between appreciation and beating your meat to a corpse.
Plus, another thing is that Derek gets really defensive over Alpha Blue. He calls anyone who criticizes his book and prudes.
And that's why I don't want to read Alpha Blue this year, because it's very clear that he's using the Chris Fields defense mechanism for writing a shitty book.
Yeah, because plus, do you really want an angry Derek Dishaw coming after you?
I do not want a Wisconsin man covered in green slime oozing his way towards me.
I mean, the worst thing he's going to do is threaten to curse us, like he did on RPGNet.
What? He actually did that?
Yeah, because people didn't like Empire of Satanis, and he actually posted an angry curse in the forums. We'll include it somewhere in this episode.
But anyway, let me get back to this joyous
This just shitting out the id. The same sort of shitting out the id that resulted in some of my worst characters, like Jimmy and Weetabix.
What are those things that shooters write before they go and throw themselves against? Oh, manifestos.
Oh yeah, this is a manifesto. You're actually having similar brainwaves to me in the first episode here.
Well, horrible minds think alike and all. These are all perfect examples of practicing the dark way, and will earn you a higher score for something called Hideous Paradise. Hideous Paradise, or HP. Oh, that was subtle. That's subtle.
Oh.
It's a reflection of how devoted your character is to the paths of darkness. A singular act of ultimate, distorted, absurd perversity will raise your HP score by 1. Question: does calling your cat N-word count?
I like to think it.
Does marrying a Jew when you hate everything that isn't you count as a perversity?
Probably.
Because I think that certainly would raise your HP score.
Well, how about finding out that you're 1/16 Welsh and you despise the Welsh? Does that raise your HP score by 1 too?
How does never leaving your house for the last 10 years of your life?
Wait, is HP is that hit points? Because it's really confusing. Because HP in most RPGs means hit points.
Well, it says right in the book that it stands for Hideous Paradise.
In this case, it is a not subtle reference to Howard Phillips Lovecraft, aka H.P. Lovecraft.
Well, I knew that, but
No,
I mean,
I know. It's so obvious, and the thing is, it's so obvious anyone can figure it out, and it's bad. You're bad. You're not smart for coming up with this. Yes, you fucktard.
And yes, for some
maybe
reason,
HP is confusing because it just, because like most commonly HP refers to hit points.
it doesn't in this case. It's closer to, I think, discipline or blood pulls.
Or like, I don't know, experience.
The opposite of humanity.
Just letting your id shit all over the place. Just be a horrible subhuman, and this is how you gain HP.
This is also follows a 1 to 10 scale. Those with great HP may alter anything within the game setting.
What?
A fiend with the highest or tied with the highest in the area can begin to change the world to their disgusting desires. They can make towering basalt temples in their honor appear. Turn all metal within a mile of himself into large flesh-eating maggots with writhing tentacles erupting from their eyes. This would garner another HP point.
Because the
Change a
tentacles
lake
are
of
another
water
fetish.
into acid. Turn all the humans in town to big-breasted, green-tentacled fiend
What?
women.
Okay, Derek.
Oh, and there's the fetish.
God!
Just giving
So what he's saying is by the rules, if I become the most depraved individual at the very start, I could just turn all of my fellow players into sex slaves, and they forget everything. That's a great way to play this game.
Like the first thing you should do in every game is just shove your hand and murder like babies and use their corpses as puppet shows where you like maul children with them.
Wait,
And then once you gain enough HP, you can then do whatever the fuck you want.
So what he's doing is that he's basically encouraging players to try to be as edgy as possible for mechanical benefit.
This is beautiful. Also, remember how it's exactly described. Unless there's some mechanic to actually counter HP, you could theoretically just PK the entire party in an instant.
Yeah, but just erasing them. You don't exist in my reality.
This is Satanis. No, you're gonna turn your fellow players into lewd tentacle, big-breasted opie lollies, and then lewd them in front of everyone.
Well, why do you keep using that specific example?
Because that's the fetish that Derek has.
Also, he's the one. The person. This is because it's disgusting, depraved, and he wrote it out there for everyone to see.
Also,
my question.
Basalt Temple. Sorry, you go on first.
My question. So, a fiend with the highest in the area can begin to change the world around them to their desires. So theoretically, you could go out into like the middle of fucking nowhere and turn all blades of grass into big floppy dick monsters that start violating each other. And that would give you another HP point. So you could just repeat this until you're the most powerful being in existence.
I think because Derek didn't actually say anything, because that would require thinking, that changing everything into the dick monsters does cost an HP point, but you won't get them back because you're personally not being the weirdo here.
So what you're saying is the more rural place you live in, the greater advantage you have.
Yes, basically, if you live in the middle of Bumfumpkinville, Tennessee...
You're a medium-sized fish in a small pond.
Basically, if you're in Bumfumpkinsville, Tennessee, population 10, and you're the town sex pervert, you can do whatever the fuck you want.
I have such shites. I have such shites. Oh my god.
Yeah, given this place, it's not sites, it's shites. It's all shite.
But yeah, and as it says here, these changes are permanent, so you can literally walk into the Sahara Desert and then turn it all into flopping dicks until something gets rid of them.
You just walk into the Sahara Desert, it becomes an ocean of cum because of the flopping dick things that you make there.
The power cannot directly be used on fiends. Okay, so you can't PK the entire party, but still, there's ways around that.
Oh yeah.
Because it says directly. There's nothing that says you can't just turn the floor into acid and kill everyone that way.
Or an infinite void that has infinite gravity that sucks them down into a black hole.
Mm-hmm. And once used, a fiend's HP goes back down by the amount spent on a particular change. The lowest a character's HP can go is to 1. A few minor changes would lessen his HP to 2. A couple major changes would cause it to drop by 4 or 5. HP changes is in radical ways, but it is the physical world that changes. As with SS,
That's social
HP
standing.
point.
I know what SS is.
Well, it means social standing, but you can interpret it as Schutzstaffel. That's fine.
Yeah, I know all these like
HP points should be
acronyms
given
mean
out for
other
good effort.
things. It's confusing.
HP points should be given out for good effort in the dark, weird, and unsettling department. So rape as many babies as you want, but remember, you've got to be creative.
Remember, you got to turn them into hats after you're done with them.
Then fuck the hat. At first, small things should get a point, and after everyone has gotten the hang of it, give only points. So more or less, it's just you got this small. Just it keeps encouraging you to go further and further with you this depravity.
This reminds me of how serial killers will specifically give themselves certain allowances to build up to going on a rampage.
Oh yeah, where they start practicing with animals.
Yeah.
I was gonna say that it more actually reminds me of a serial killer in the other way. First they start with animals and they're like, I need more. It's not getting me off anymore.
The screams of animals doesn't do it enough.
Now we're human, and then eventually, no, I can't. Killing humans isn't getting me off anymore. Now I have to eat them while I murder them.
That's Uday Hussein as well.
The more intimate the points are rewarded, the more immediate the points are awarded, the more players will learn what kind of actions are good and appreciated.
So you got it. Punting dogs into vats of acid. Got to do it. It's for the greater good.
Well, okay. Oh god, that actually got me there. Give me 1 second. While story alteration creates small single change to the adventure's flow, an HP point can be spent to lower the target number of story alterations. For example, spending 1 point would lower the target number needed from 6 to 5.
So you can waste an HP point to make it so that you could just hijack the campaign easier too. Crash this game, no survivors.
Who wants to find out about how this magic system works? Would you like to diopse it, or would you like to, fellow lover of degeneracy?
I'd advise actually just skipping down to the magic skills, but I don't know. The magic is mostly just
information
blah
about
blah.
it. Yeah, it's how to. Let's go to magic skills. So the black arts is for changing reality itself. No, that's what HP is for, Derek. And very hard as well as time-consuming to achieve. The black arts, usually performed in a ceremony, ritual, or psychodrama, so like a soap opera, sends the psychodrama, so a soap opera.
Oh god, so Mexicans are the most powerful beings in the black arts.
Beware
because
the dreaded telenovela.
No, it's Mexican house. It's Mexican housewives.
What? You kind of merge together recording-wise, one at a time?
No, it's more importantly Mexican housewives, which are the most powerful beings alive.
Oh god, like my magic comes from As the World Turns and the Young and the Restless.
It sends the will of the magician out into the aether, where it has a chance of influencing reality. The ritual requires a few recurring necessities depending on the mage. For instance, particular clothing, wand, phrases, candles, drums, chimes, flute, etc. A full ceremony might take anywhere from 10 minutes to over an hour depending on the desired effect versus probability of outcome. So you can go as short as an episode of SpongeBob or to a full episode of The Young and the Restless. The change may come in an unexpected form, if it comes at all. Some changes seem like coincidence, and other alterations are so exact and profound that it is obvious that potent black magic was involved. An easy result may yield a favorable word of mouth from a friend. A complex result might generate an intense lust from a certain girl. And an unimaginable one would curse someone to a horrible death sometime in the next few months. So we can murder people through soap operas now.
Well, apparently make them thirst for you.
Can we name this? Can we title this episode "Death by Telenovela"?
Maybe. Blood magic affects the blood. Having the blood of others while casting can tell you a lot about that person, where they've been, what they seek, etc. Magically imbuing your own blood and giving it to another can make them start to desire, respect, or fear you. So, vinculum bond slash just bonding in general from vampire, spliced with the blood magics that are used in Shadowrun that can allow you to detect who was there and why.
So he said also he's able to I'll give him restraint. He only said blood 4 times in 2 sentences.
Yeah, I mean, it could have been worse.
The obvious defense for this is to get any veterans with diabetes to protect you.
I mean, after all, once you get a guy who's so fat that his blood type's Nutella,
Read the next line. It's brilliant.
Oh, Candyland magic. This involves the summoning of nonsensical, childish things such as candy canes, jelly beans, sugar plum fairies, rainbow slides, etc. I specialize in summoning little elves with jingly shoes.
So
the jingly shoes are actually dicks.
So would the modern day equivalent include Fortnite?
Probably.
Oh no. You can summon the Keebler elves to murder people.
I like this idea.
However,
I need it.
you need to summon the Candyland magic. However, all these have a creepy and diabolic influence. Things are not right with the sweet objects. They cannot directly harm a victim, but instead lull him into a confusing state of happiness and comfort. Candy canes can make a gateway to block pursuers, which is, I guess, a made-up drug in his world. Jelly beans can drop from the sky and disorient opponents for a round. Sugar plum fairies can fly to a victim and converse with them as a distraction or decoy. A rainbow slide can provide a hasty retreat, etc. Other uses can be found too. A user of Candyland magic could conjure sad marshmallow clouds of gore and entrails to hide it. What?
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 I think what it's implying is that you gut the marshmallow and then you hide in the fluff.
Like a tauntaun?
Which is, I guess, technically gore of a mushroom. Which
cut the marshmallow cloud to get to the juicy organs inside.
The question is, does this mean in this universe, if I gut Swedish fish, does this mean they have nice gummy entrails?
I guess it does now.
Yeah, I bet they taste good, like Swedish fish do. They better.
What do you think's more likely in this world? That these are going to be tasty, nice entrails, or they're just going to be more dicks?
I don't know. I mean, isn't it like? I mean, you know that the most humane way to eat Swedish fish is to bite the heads off first.
Why do you think everything's going to be dicks though, Greg? This is Derek. It's probably just boobs that like lactate green slime.
I find in my experience when someone is a complete degenerate, they are a degenerate for everything. It's kind of like how if you go into conspiracy theorists, if the deeper rabbit hole you go, they find that everyone believes all the same stupid conspiracies.
Okay, so he also wants dicks that ejaculate green slime. Got it.
I'm not even. This isn't actually me joking. This is my honest opinion.
So anyway, after hiding in the guts of a candy cloud, Candyland magic comes from a different plane, just like nightmare technology. That's a great name for a band, by the way. It is a realm of hideous silliness and frivolity, a dimension ruled by a slavering, unholy, childlike deity. His name is Chris.
It's such a silly play. I'm starting to think of the net. Gosh darn it! I want to get away from the Holy Grail memes, but now this is making me think of Camelot, and it's such a silly play.
God, it's like the literal man-child god. The realm is just his basement.
This magic skill also uses theoretical knowledge as its dice pool instead of magical aptitude. Theoretical knowledge of man-child things. Dimension magic. Tapping into other dimensions in order to change things. Hiding oneself or an object in a pocket dimension, or one may try to communicate with things in other dimensions. Perhaps the mage could take something out of a familiar dimension? Question mark, like Derek wasn't sure what else he could give dimension magic. That's basically what the last sentence was.
He put the most effort in black magic and Candyland magic.
I think he did.
Yeah, I'm looking. Yeah, he did. No, nightmare technology as well. We'll get to there. Dream magic. This can affect one's dreams as well as others. It can yield nightmares, inspirational visions, glimpses of the past, present, and future, and communication between great distances. An experienced dream magician can send his own dream self to others awake or sleep. Dream self incorporeal and at the whim of the magician himself. Dream self is an important part of the waking self, and what happens to one can eventually influence the other. Flesh magic, aka John Carpenter's The Things ability. Changing one's flesh and bone structure as well as others. Ripping someone's arm off with a complex result might do 3 points of vitality damage that the victim's endurance can absorb. And failing a magic resistance and will roll, that is. In time, most likely an hour or so, the arm would reattach itself and the wounds would heal of their own accord. This is the most brain vomit I've ever seen from Derek. Flesh magic is him
Yeah.
thinking it up on the fly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just kind of like.
I don't know.
I-
You rip the arm off or something.
I mean, if I was going to do it, I'd do it like how the Zamichi do it, where you can alter yourself or others. That way you can turn people into your couch. Literally, that's something Zamichi can do quite easily, turn people into
But no, what I believe in, though, we should do blood for the blood god. Blood for the blood god. Blood for the blood.
And then you just use flesh magic to forcibly have them ejected out like a fucking geyser. And they just fall over as a pale corpse mummy thing. Fungus magic. Grow and or find fungi, the vegetation that feeds upon decay. It's not really a vegetable. It's kind of halfway between that and an animal, but whatever, Derek. Spreading their spores that produce a psychoactive and or psychedelic state, because that's the only mushrooms he's fucking familiar with.
Yeah, he's not a botanist, I can tell.
These states grant the seer metaphysical answers to life, the universe, and everything, or cloud the mind and lead to delusion and insanity. You forgot the most nasty thing about funguses, which they can grow in your lungs, and on your skin, or into your brain.
Nah.
Oh god,
Nah,
you can
just-
cause people yeast infections. The worst kind of them all.
You just instantly turn any drink alcoholic by forcibly putting yeast into it. You instantly make dough rise just by touching it.
So this person, this theoretical person, has unfortunately, I'm going to use the word coochie in this case, so toxic that she can make bread objects randomly.
Just by touching it.
I hate this.
But nah, just make you high on the mushrooms.
I mean,
And you
ignore
see
cool
magic
shit like
bullshit.
cordyceps, which can mind control people like puppets and then have them forcibly have their heads explode and it turns into a fungus mushroom cap.
No, that's too hard. Just get you high on the mushroom magic.
So, speaking of mushroom magic, here's Hideous Twilight. Create illusions and unreal things. An easy result would produce a box in midair that people could see and touch, lasting a few minutes. A complex result might create a large fire with animals burning within. Those around could see it, hear the flames crackle, and the screams and smell the burning flesh and feel the heat. The illusion or unreality might last an hour. That's not what I would think of when I think of Hideous Twilight magic. If I was going to write it, I would have it be that it's illusions, but it's like shadow illusions where you fuck around with light sources.
But that's hard.
You can drench the area in darkness, summon shadow tentacles to molest people and kill them horribly.
But that's hard. Just put in some illusion shit.
Already at least one other magic that basically makes weird illusion things. It's like they're blending together in some cases in terms of usage.
Yeah, you can tell that he only really seriously thought about a few of them.
Which especially is true with the one after this, which is just dimension magic, only more.
Yeah, basically, hyperspace sorcery allows you to move through space-time, dimensions, and in some cases universe without any type of physical craft or ship. Mask magic is so fucking lazy. You wear a particular mask to superimpose... He picked it up from Majora's Mask, the bastard.
Yeah, like... Yeah.
You just wear masks and you become someone else.
With fucking magic.
Anyway, here's one he cared a lot about. Nightmare technology. Nightmare tech is a magic skill that can be used to mimic human technology with monstrous and eldritch results. Technicians of nightmare, that's a very Chinese way of saying it. That feels like if I'm reading a book and all of a sudden some English pops out, that's something I would expect. So technicians of nightmare can tap into a place of disturbing visions to find the seeds that grow Sagothian servitors? Okay, rip off 40k, whatever. Or to create a somewhat living thing that can be used as an infernal tool. So they're basically warp smiths.
Apparently.
Nightmare technology is an all-purpose add-on form of wizardry that can have almost any function and works well in conjunction with other objects, people, forms, ideas, or magics. However, it is relatively insignificant when used alone. Dude, you can make a fucking television out of human flesh and screams. Nightmare technology might enhance another form of magic to give it a dark awareness. Qualities of a black living ooze with amorphous ink-colored tentacles and slime. Oh, that's so uncreative. It can make a magical puppet into a puppet of flowing, thinking dark. What's with only darkness? Come on. You gotta get on
He really
board.
likes puppets, doesn't he?
He does. Thinking darkness so that it can fly or grapple someone with its new Icarus tendrils, more tentacles. The magician with the skill could make a magical plant live and breathe with sentient oozing black. What is it? So is nightmare technology just oozing darkness?
I
Every
guess.
single fucking
Fetish
example he
magic.
listed. Yeah.
No wonder why he puts more detail into this.
It's literally just black. You summon black oozes to do things or mutate things.
Yeah.
Stupid. Making it grow shadowy heads that will converse with you in the night. Unlike other magic skills, nightmare technology. This is so fucking disappointing. Imagine if you could make like super science.
It's basically turn X unrelated objects into my fetishes.
It is literally the fetish spell. Nightmare technology is used with the dice pool of theoretical knowledge plus nightmare tech, and it can be used as many times a day as per character's theory attributes. Sagothian creation. Characters can grow their own Sagothian servitor with the use of nightmare technology. Sagothian servitors are roughly humanoid sized, though their shape frequently changes because they're basically Shoggoths. They're comprised of slime tendrils and thinking black ooze, whatever. Slogothians are not really slaves since they're not bound to the mage. They have their own thoughts and desires, and unless they are infused into other magic, they usually just stand there until dissipating hours later. This is so... I'm actually kind
God
of
damn it,
pissed.
Derek.
I'm kind of pissed, I'm not gonna lie. When I think of nightmare technology, I think of SCPs, like the fixing machine 914 where you put things in and using the weird clanking massive gears and you make something better or worse.
I think of like that Stephen King short story with like the demonic laundry press.
Oh
Like,
yeah, the Crusher.
Yeah. Yeah, being able to like create that and send it out on a rampage.
I was thinking like warp smithing where you can make demonic cannons that fire screams of the damned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, this is boring. Shit.
I mean, come on, you came up with those great ideas for green tentacle shooting breast milk everywhere. Why couldn't you channel that horrible this into this?
He also came up with the idea of a frat bra race that just like torments people. And also a race of contrarians and swamp zombie hillbillies that use puppets as slaves.
Brilliant. Brilliant.
Oh, also, conspiracy theory dwarves that like live in fucking bunkers. That's another thing he came up with.
Oh yeah, and the grumpy old man trees.
That want to kill the gods and
demon-
eat them.
Demons were better back in my days.
With frog heads, by the way.
Okay, Boomer.
Okay. But see, like there was some potential here if you're doing like evil technology,
Fucked it up.
specifically combining it with other forms of magic, like the fungus magic. You could make a rocket launcher that shoots spore pod.
For fuck's
Or
sake,
something cool like that.
I did that in my gunlock setting with Vercingetorix. That's kind of what his specialty is.
It'd be kind of cool to combine it with like Candyland magic, like Yeah.
Like
just
imagine a boombox that forcibly turns everyone into liquid jelly beans.
Yeah.
Or what happens is that you can use magic and I can use candy canes, so I can impale people with giant candy
Remember,
canes.
you can't harm someone directly with candy magic, but you can like stick them in a candy cage and then starve them to death.
Like with nightmare technology and Candyland magic, you could totally make you can make giant Sour Patch Kids golems to do your
Yes.
bidding.
Yeah.
For
First they're
fuck's sake.
sour, now they're sweet.
First they're sour,
Now
so
you're
for the
dead,
first
and
couple
now
of
you're
rounds they
dead.
start strangling people, and then when they're sweet they hug the corpses.
Now you're dead.
Garbage. Anyway, plant magic. Plant magic is the art of growing weird vegetation and with magical properties. So basically, you grow weed. Like, fuck off. It's just growing weed. I'm not even going to read anymore. I'm still offended.
Yeah, because like he thinks it's like focus magic. Like its only purpose is to get you high. Because he's not a botanist. He wouldn't
Basically,
know
it's
all
just
that
farming.
shit.
He thinks farming is magic.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
you
I mean,
see
where does
you
the
see a
food come
dude with
from?
his straw hat on a fucking tractor, just like with a big bale of wheat that's ready for the mills, and he's like staring at it. It's like he's been tainted with the witch breed.
What kind of foul sorcery? What foul sorcery are you doing here, sir?
It's called
I'm
crafting.
just
Oh, you can make a
I'm
plan.
harvesting my wheat crop.
It's
What
called
you
I'm just
doing?
imagining
combine
someone.
harvester. What you doing on my field?
I'm just imagining a demon with like a potato familiar. You can apparently make them your familiar.
That'd be pretty great.
Potato.
It's like a potato with like the eye roots just kind of being like little legs for it to walk on,
No, as it's just literally just a potato, yet it's somehow familiar.
and it just rolls around everywhere.
Kind of reminds me of like this one like service called Potato Parcel where you can actually send your friends a potato.
Oh yeah, that's something you can still do. Actually, it's still in business.
Yeah, it's still around.
Well, no. Then you make your potato familiar a battery and give it a plasma cannon.
Nightmare technology.
Now, Mr. Potato Head tells me to impale people. He tells me of such great things that must be done.
And it's just a fucking normal potato that just magically doesn't go rotten.
The spuds speak to me. The spuds speak to me.
The Spudmeister. The new supervillain idea. The Spudmeister. Just runs around. He throws potatoes at people. The potatoes talk to me!
I'm just now envisioning like a really embarrassing like 60s Batman adventure where like the villain is the Spudmeister and like he specializes in potato themed crime. like he traps Batman in a fucking potato salad dish.
No.
Drown him in potato salad.
No, he threatens to lower Robin into a giant fryer.
That's another one. And he's like trying to steal all of the world's potato supply. That is something I can see in Silver Age Batman, and it's horrible, and I love it.
Require alcohol.
No, not yet. Puppet magic. Creating puppets as magical entities that obey your will. I actually finished that puppeteer class, so this is not going to be anywhere near as good, probably. Puppet masters can see through the eyes of their puppets, talk to others through their puppets, and occasionally drain them of life to temporarily increase the mage's power.
So, what if you are giving birth to your puppets like that master of puppets we went over the last time?
The Brazilian man who came up with that is a tactical genius compared to Derek.
Giving birth to puppets. That sounds like a fetish.
Well, we actually had to read that at one point. It was pretty glorious. I nearly died. Shadow magic. Create and control light and darkness. Hoopa dooba doo. I don't care. Word magic. Control words. Change words in their meaning. Have someone blurt out something inept might be easy. While making several people believe that you spoke against someone's torture after the fact might be... Basically, you implant words into people's brains. Character goals.
the magic version.
So, are we gonna look at character goals, or are we skipping that?
Nah, skip on to 34.
Okay. Experience, colors of the magical spheres of influence.
I mean, maybe just skin this. It's mostly stupid gimmick mechanics that
Oh yeah, this is the
Derek thought
thing.
up.
No, this is the thing you need, or else you mechanically can't do anything harder than easy. One of these must be picked at the time the character is created. Not only will this choice affect the character's sphere of influence, domain, style, and shape. Shape of magic, it'll determine the shades of their personality and sense of self. This is very important for magic because a spell will try to conduct itself in the manner of its color, if possible. Trying an action or casting a spell that correlates with one's color gives you a +2 on the dice pool result, which is how you can actually do things that are above easy. Because the way Derek wrote this, the way you cast magic or do anything is fucking impossible if it goes over easy. Why? Because easy's a 4 and you only get 1d6 for some fucking reason. Well, not one, but you get a pull, but you don't pile up the pull. Instead, you just take the best result for some fucking reason. So the best you can get's a 6, and medium is 7. Keep that in mind.
But you gotta re-roll a 6 and add. So it's totally balanced.
I mean, you need a 5 at least, and you have to have it match your color pool to even have a fucking chance. It's really stupid. With one's colors field, give you a +2 to your dice pool result if used in conjunction with embellishment and detailed description. Although if a character tries casting a spell that has nothing to do with the sphere of influence of majority, and the majority or all of the dice rolled up comes up once, then the GM can surprise the player with an unintended and tragic effect. Maybe the color is taking revenge on him. Someone with thread that tries to use fear and gets a lot of ones might turn the intended victim or the caster themselves into a hateful rage instead. Characters focus and blah blah blah. Let's just look at the colors because I'm bored already. So black is death, tyranny, and dishonor. Blackish green.
Shocker.
Why is there a blackish green? Are you kidding?
I don't know. Maybe Derek needed padding.
So it's entropy, decay, and degenerate. When in reality, I think normal green would have been better.
Yeah.
Red, anger, wrath, aggression. Deep orange, because normal orange you can't we can't use normal orange. Is
How
excitement.
dare we use?
How dare we use normal orange?
Topaz, which I don't get it. Like, which kind of topaz? Because topazes come in different colors, like yellow and blue. Topaz is a gem, not a color.
I think it can be described as a color, but
yeah, but you see, it's in the color rainbow. Usually, topaz is most commonly depicted as being sort of deeper yellow.
Yeah. So why the fuck? You have to actually put some thought and brain power into figuring out what that color would be, which is stupid.
Well, but then after purple, it goes white, crimson, brown, pink.
Well,
you also forgot the other two green colors.
Because what are those shades of green even look like? What is violet? The
puke green, I
violet
think.
Green and eldritch green? What is even eldritch green supposed to be?
Fuck if I know.
It's whatever color Derek's green slime is, probably.
I just know that it's really telling that there's 3 different shades of green already.
What? You're saying that Derek likes color green?
I'm saying that he likes to fuck green slime. Light blue for some reason. I like how there's actually good qualities like tranquility and patience and reflection.
Indigo, metamorphosis, change, rebirth. Purple, pride, social standing, authority, nobility.
I like how there's also honor, even though you're supposed to be evil, but okay.
You probably just ran out of things to fill up each color with.
Crimson, because we already had a red and we need more revenge and self-righteous and blah blah. I like how brown is stealth. Opalescent's actually not a color, it's a fucking shade. It's something. Opalescent is not a color. That would be like saying one of the colors is candy coat. Or matte.
Well, metallic isn't a color either. Like, there's gold, silver, like, bronze, like, kind of, that's, like,
Yeah,
what is metallic?
What the fuck?
People who consider metallic a color are smooth brains.
Like, if it was, like, gold or silver or something, that would make more sense.
I would have said, like, iron.
Yeah, iron would work.
I also like how there's purple and violet, even though they're the same fucking color, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Orange
But-
flame of emerald lavender?
What the heck is
What?
that? Like,
What?
like there's like 3 colors in there. There's orange, emerald, and lavender.
It means conviction, individuality, anti-authority. This is the one that Derek wants at all times. What an asshole.
Uh,
What a
this-
complete asshole.
the sad thing is, this isn't entirely a terrible idea. Like the idea of a color sphere or something influencing a freeform magic system.
That would be kind of cool, actually. I like the.
And
Well,
it also
in some
gives you
ways,
an idea on your personality, too.
Yeah, but it's just, well, there's too many fucking colors.
Well, no, it's just they're
And
all the
just-
same fucking color.
Yeah. And it just turns into what shit can I throw? I don't know.
What are you gonna say, Al?
I don't know about all this talk about color. It's just I don't know.
You don't like talking about colors. That's too easy.
Deformity, because of course. We're getting to deformity now. Satanis and the other gods favor those who have let their waves of disturbing chaos, corruption, and horror wash over them. Those fiends who are disfigured or deformed in some way due to their natural vulnerability to the black matter of Yggdrasil, that's the setting name, which no one who just joined in would know, and I feel fucking sorry for you. Gain the favor of Satanis himself. A deformity is granted when a fiend reaches a social standing of 6 or higher. So when you become a level 6 Schutzstaffel member, you start getting deformed because of the inbreeding, I guess. So 1, your head grows larger, disproportional to the rest of the body, so you become Jimmy Neutron.
Curvature of the skull becomes more pronounced. Oh, so you do become Jimmy Neutron.
Brain blast.
One eye swells up, the other shrivels down to a pea. Great bat-like wings sprout. Fiend can fly in the air and through space. 2, several slimy green tentacles pop from the body. Hands and feet become webbed. One hand becomes a crab claw because he stole the Daemonette idea from Slaanesh. Thick molasses-like slime constantly drips from the pore, so you're now part slug.
No, Derek, that's not normal.
Also, it's not what I envisioned. Like, when I want to be a monstrous demon edgelord, I don't want to look like a fucking booger. I don't want to fucking look like a booger.
Let's
Now,
never
that's a good
know.
point.
To be fair, it's a booger with a crab claw.
I still don't want that. That sounds like something Scooby-Doo ran into. So it feels like something that like would get caught in one of Fred's traps. It's embarrassing.
Oh god, a host of eyes cover subject's back. Forehead bears the mark of worm,
What
and
that
each
means,
leg
who knows?
becomes a worm itself of similar size to the lost leg. Membranous insect wings sprout from the back, allowing flight through air and space.
But we have bat wings already. What?
Everybody gets fucking wings.
Oh, these are random, I think.
Yeah, maybe.
You roll a d6, I guess, and that's what your deformity you get.
Yeah, I don't know. It never really
You know-
made it clear if you had to roll or you got to choose.
It's almost like this was written as a first draft, and
You know,
I was only
what
using
would
one
be-
hand the entire time.
You know what I would like is that the more, if you did the reverse thing, the more perverse acts you do, if you do more perverse acts, like, it actually leads to deformities, and deformities are a bad thing, kind of like a trade-off. Like, you get this great power, but power comes
No,
at a
but you have to be evils. Like you have to be evils. Like, it's, we gotta be edgy.
How dare you try to use White Wolf logic where you have to try to stay as normal as possible? How dare you use Vampire the Masquerade or Vampire the Requiem where you have a humanity stat? No,
Or how dare I?
you need to look like a booger with giant boobs that squirt out slime. Oh, and dicks, lots and lots of dicks.
How dare I? How dare I also use 40k logic with the more you mess with the ruinous powers, the more bad things can happen.
No, we need
Funny
you to
thing-
walk around with a Jimmy Neutron head and a crab claw.
The funny thing, I think the thing that the writer's gonna get most offended by is the very idea that he he likes penis instead of all the legitimate criticisms we're giving him.
Of course he will. That's gonna be the only thing he fucking notices. And then he'll send a Jewish death curse at us or something.
Or maybe he'll invite us to review, like, Shalt or something, like, to see
no.
to prove how much he improved or something.
I mean, it's not hard to improve from I sat on my ass for one day to write this all up in one go.
Yeah.
I think
Arms are. Oh,
sorry.
go ahead.
No, you go.
I'm just reading this off.
I don't have anything else to say.
Okay.
Don't worry.
Arms are elongated and covered in scales that end in snakes' heads. Ears fall off and are replaced by long prehensile feelers / antenna. Fiend can safely swim through air and space as if the atmosphere was heavy as water.
What the fuck?
So this is less terrifying Eldritch abomination and more cartoon supervillain.
He kind of
Yeah.
does, even with the snake heads. It looks like something Thundar the Barbarian would kill.
Subject becomes the height of a dwarf, about 3 feet high. Flesh is drained of color. Its tongue grows long and thick, and its feet become cloven hooves.
So you just become Tyrion Lannister.
Oh, 6. Oh, lower half becomes that of a large spider. Oh, what's that? What's that? I think I hear Gary Gygax on the phone.
Yeah,
I
it's pretty uncreative.
sow shut. He spelled so wrong.
Oh yeah, so the eyes become pigs and then close. I didn't even catch that at first.
Subject can now see with his mind. So his skull splits open and a bunch of eye tendrils come out.
That would have been better, but no, instead he ripped off Event Horizon. Where we're going, we won't need eyes to see.
Alright, let's see.
Dice pulls, these are just examples to...
Yeah, oh, the stuff to buy at 37.
Look at all the fucking things that you need to do to just, like, go through a workout regimen. This is to get healthy. Endurance plus torture or endurance, survival or endurance, and poison and drugs. I guess working out is lethal to a person that plays this game.
I mean, Derek, I'm guessing Derek has a strong aversion to gym.
Yeah, do you even lift, Derek? Do you even lift, bro?
Ever since the dodgeball, he was never same again.
Remember, if you're ever cornered by Derek in a dark alleyway, just threaten a game of dodgeball.
Or alternatively, just call him a nerd and he'll probably run away crying.
I hate humanity.
How dare you insult me?
How dare you peons not understand the great works I've made through this little booklet that's designed for ease of play? How dare you not understand the genius that is my creation?
Hey nerd, are you still working on your gay die thing? Come on, Jonesy. Let's go smoke behind the school.
And then they get captured by
They
rat
whisper in
people
his
and then
breath.
forcibly have their flesh melted off.
I'm gonna rape your mom.
Is that Derek or is that you, Greg, saying this?
No, I'm just trying to imagine how someone like was like just saying a deep luminous breath for
But I'm assuming
What?
this is Derek that's saying it and not your own opinion.
No, I will say it here. I do not. I here, Grey of Dice Scum, do not condone any form of sexual assault in any manner, jokingly or otherwise, and no, that does not mean I want the author assaulted by a plethora of green colored slime spewing dicks.
Well,
That we
no,
know of.
he'd like that.
He would enjoy it. So stuff to buy. So Guoa Asht, which I already forget what those are. I already forget whatever race they are because I don't remember the names at all. And Human Fiend hybrids start with 500 Zerkas. What are Zerkas? Fuck you. The Goa Ash come from highborn and wealthy families. I think those are the three-headed vampires now. I don't know.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
So hybrids get to keep half of the money once their human family and relatives are sold into slavery.
Fuck you, Dad!
Birth you ungrateful son of a bitch.
That's what you get for birthing me into this shitty setting, Dad.
Fuck you, Danny.
Other
Should have aborted you. I should have aborted you. Dare. No, that's mean.
That was a little too mean.
Yeah.
That's why I stopped myself.
Good, Kyle. Other races have no money to their name. They're homeless. They're all homeless.
They're all home.
I guess that's where all the pores from Bear World went to here. Unless the sacrifice CBP, what that is, fuck if I know.
Wise do not exist in the Empire of Satanis.
Understanding anything, we can't have that. For Zyrax, what's a Zyrax? I don't know. Is it the same as a Zerka? Who fucking knows?
Are these real words? Probably not.
You'll never know because you won't
How
look it up.
many Zerkas equal a Zyrak?
And what's a CBP?
This sounds like I don't. These are hard questions to answer.
This is more incompetent than J.K. Rowling was with wizarding money, and she openly admitted she hated math. In fact, Snape was based on her math teacher. They begin in poverty just as their ancestors did when they were exiled to Cathana. This is the test of their mettle, and they must survive using their wits and talents. So no one else except for the nobles have money. Some magic weapons give a +1, +2, or even +3 bonus to the attack number. These weapons were forged in the lava pools of Veach under the blood-red gibbous moons of Cathana. Who gives a shit, because it only just adds to the attack number, it doesn't add to damage. Great care and evil went to their creation. They are expensive, highly sought after, and well guarded. A knight with one of the illustrious tentacled horse.
God damn it, Derek.
What about those cloud baffles? How much do they cost?
No one knows. All I know is that I like how that's the first demonstration that this stupid asshole had to use is whores.
But what? Yeah, I just wonder how with the cloud, how the with the
Oh yeah, I forgot the
cost.
clowns run the porn ring.
Yeah, because there's cloud brothels.
They're the majority stakeholders in most brothels, so they're run by clowns. Honk honk, motherfuckers.
Send in the clowns, people. Send them in.
So anyway,
I hear clown car. I hear the clown car coming.
So anyway, sticking your dick into the hole of mystery that is Cathana costs about 10 gold pieces. A mug of worm cider costs about 2 gold pieces. I'm calling them gold pieces because fuck you, Derek. And a room for a night in a plethora of inns and rooming houses in Cathana costs about 5 gold pieces. Really? Okay, so buying a slave that will serve you all their lives costs 100 gold pieces, or possibly more if they're skilled or gifted at some task that's in demand. What the fuck's a Muja riding lizard? I don't know. I just shat it out when I wrote this sentence. Buying that costs about 150 gold pieces, but they move slowly.
But it's better than traveling for
What's
days
the
on
point
foot.
of buying them if they move slowly?
I guess they don't tire, so they can keep going.
I guess.
I don't know. Derek did not think the currency at all. To give you an idea, J.K. Rowling put more effort into wizarding currency, and she openly admitted, yeah, I didn't really want to think about it.
Okay, infernal equipment. Dream senders. Good. God. This is
How long is this? Because we might stop
Yeah.
here after this.
Okay. Aquatic glyphs of the blood slick sea. These are all just fucking power metal lyric.
So anyway, what dream senders are is it's a dream helmet.
Yeah.
Like boring.
And you buy them from Dr. Lockin's Morbid Dream Factory. The Morbid Dream Factory. Woo!
I like how there's a business in this world where you basically pay to see other people's dreams.
Okay.
I mean, that's actually kind of a cool idea, but it's so poorly thought out.
The thing is, if you're seeing other people's dreams in this kind of dreamlike world, isn't that kind of like being a voyeuristic person? Like it's just kind of like being a cuckold, and you're just gonna watch your wife getting fucked by.
It's kind of like that, but it's also I've actually read the Alien novelization, and it uses one of the older scripts for that movie, which is why the facehugger is described as having an eye, and why they have guns still. But in the original setting, in one of the original scripts, there is such a thing as professional dreaming in Alien, where you pay to enjoy experiences based on what dreamers create. It's basically a cheapo way to make movies. So, like, the idea has merit. It's been done in sci-fi before, but this is really shitty.
But
Like,
this
like
is as
everything,
shitty.
like everything
Is it-
Derek has done, this is really shitty.
But is it as shitty as Void Sabers
Oh
on
yeah,
page 38?
lightsabers. By the way, the aquatic
Unseen.
glyphs of the blood slick sea, they're basically they're scribbles of the deep ones, and you can use it to summon squids. Who gives a shit?
Unseen spear is an invisible spear. Ooh.
Stupid. Also, if it's also, what's the point of using an invisible weapon when wouldn't it make more sense to have like a concealed weapon?
Ooh, magic. Ooh.
Anyway, lightsaber is it's a lightsaber. It has beams of colored energy that's hot enough to melt through solid steel. It's worth like $400, so you know you can get a lightsaber.
Then it's cool. And actually, we're pretty much near the end. We can just scroll down. There's
but there's some other things like the blade of Lucius here. Each time someone is killed with this weapon, it turns the wielder into an exact copy of the victim. It's basically you murder someone and you get to disguise yourself as them.
I thought when you said the end, I thought we're to the end of our life.
Not yet, unfortunately. The Ring of Decrepitude. This ring can shrivel an opponent at range 20 feet after 3 rounds. The victim must be within 20 feet of the ring and ring bearer for all 3 rounds. What does shriveling do? I don't know. This is brain vomit.
We all know what shriveling does.
So basically, you need that once you go through the newly changed Sahara Desert. Diabolic armor. Basically, this is your not D&D ripoff. The fuel it takes to power the diabolic armor. I guess it's power armor now.
apparently.
What the fuck? Colored weapons and items. Basically, it's colored from your sphere, and I think it Yeah, it gets an extra +2 bonus to whatever result. So this is the only way you can actually kind of make it reliable to do normal things. You have to use you have to be within your color, your personality, and then you have to use a colored weapon, which costs a lot of fucking money. Good job, Derek.
Good job. Good job.
Yeah.
So possible scenarios, we're going to ignore that for now because we're done. I think we're done today.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
I've had enough of having Derek mention how many times he wants boobs that squirt green milk. He probably got
Yeah.
really hard when he saw The Last Jedi when Luke was squirting that fucking sea cow.
Oh God! Please squirt me some more for Derek.
You almost made me
Oh,
snort soda through my nose, you jackass.
Yeah. I'm just imagining like one of those little Dragon Quest slimes running away as Derek is chasing him.
I'm just now envisioning that, like, the reason this has happened is when he was a little kid, his parents were irresponsible and showed him the remake of The Blob, and he was never the same ever since. Something awakened that night in his brain.
Maybe he like watched Blubber or something. Actually,
Flubber
no,
makes a
that's
lot
not
more
funny.
sense. Because there's a bit where Flubber
that'd be an
imitates...
embarrassing story. Flubber was my sexual awakening.
Flubber that might be actually what I name it instead.
That's the title right there.
Flubber is my sexual awakening. The only way that would have been more embarrassing is if it was a Jerry Lewis movie. Like the Nutty Professor. I mean, the original Nutty Professor was pretty good, but still.
I thought you were gonna bring up The Day the Clown Cried.
No, that's not getting released until 2025.
I might actually have to watch that just because of the fact of the simple fact of it.
It's a fucking Holocaust movie with a clown.
The best part is the
Singing,
ending.
the
The ending is he
clowns.
lures the kids that enjoy him into the gas chamber, and his last request as he's walking in is, can he join them?
God damn it!
And actually, that last scene from The Day the Clown Cried, I think that's how we feel right now, where we just want to join them.
Yeah.
We saw into the deadlights, and we want to be there.
Good night, everybody. And Derek, please.
For the love of
Yeah.
Christ, stop talking about boobs.
Yeah, we're not gonna review Out the Blue, Derek. And I don't care if you call us prudes, we're not reviewing it.
Some of the shit we said really shows we're not prudes at all, by the way.
Yeah.
No.
Good night, everybody.